Ladies and gentlemen, the man we welcome to the stage doesn't just speak because he wants to. He speaks because he was called to. Receiving life's messages is part of who he is, and spreading them is what he's meant to do. Without further ado, Wayne Looney.
Ladies and gentlemen, already, we're here. I'm here. And I'm so grateful and so thankful to be speaking with you guys again. Today, I'm going to be speaking about a topic that has been weighing really heavy on my heart lately. And that topic is taking a chance on yourself. Being able to take a chance on yourself is more important right now than it's ever been. Today, I'm going to be talking about how, if we're unable or scared to take a chance on ourselves, how we can actually be stopping the blessings that are meant for us. And when I say blessings, I mean gifts from God or gifts from the universe, however you want to look at it. I'm talking about things that are meant for us. Isn't that crazy, though, how we could actually be stopping ourselves from everything or receiving everything that we've ever wanted? I know a lot of us who are religious or spiritual or who believe in a higher power or something just greater than themselves spend a lot of our time either praying, either putting out the right energy, trying to manifest everything in our life that we feel like is supposed to be there or that we want in our life. Today, like I said, I'm going to be explaining how, if we are unable to take a chance and we're unable to have faith, how we can actually be stopping ourselves from receiving those gifts. Now, one thing that most of us believe in, who believe in a higher power or who believe in God or whatever you want to call it, as long as you believe in something greater than yourself, I feel like you believe that there are certain things coming to you, right? And some people like to look at it like karma. Some people like to look at it like you are creating things with the energy, and there's a lot of different ways to look at it. However, a lot of us believe that if we do something bad, it's likely something bad would happen to us. Or if we do something good, it's likely something good will come to us. However, when it comes to blessings and when it comes from gifts from the universe, a lot of times we have to have faith. And what I mean by faith is that means that we have to trust in the things that we can't see yet. A lot of us are used to only trusting the things that we can see. And when I say that, I mean that if we can't see a blessing or we can't see a gift or we can't see how something's going to work out, a lot of times we stress and we concern ourselves and we don't know how to move past that because we are so focused on what we can see. However, when you learn how to operate and use your instincts, what happens is you start believing in the things that you feel. And when you start believing in the things that you feel and you start to be able to trust that instinct and you know that things are going to work out, you stop being so stressed about the things that are in the moment. However, without being able to do that, without that instinct and without having that faith, what happens is we actually stop ourselves from being able to receive certain things. Now, let me break that down a little further. And let me just actually, for instance, sometimes we are looking for certain things out of a person in our relationship. And we can be on a dating scene or we can actually just be in a relationship right now. And sometimes that person may not be giving us everything that we're asking for. That person may not even necessarily be what we wanted. However, it was what came into our life. And so we settled in order to have someone or order not to be alone. I talked about this in one of my earlier podcasts. Is this relationship holding me back? However, it applies to now, right? So if we hold on to that person and we hold on to a situation that we're settling, we could be stopping ourselves from actually meeting or actually having what we really want instead of settling for what we have. And you can do that in a lot of different scenarios in life. A lot of times people do this with their job. They stay at a job. They stay at a place that they otherwise don't want to be at, a job that they dislike in favor of being comfortable. They're familiar with it. They have the job and they're scared to walk away because they don't know what's out there. And they don't have faith to believe that they can find another job that they enjoy more. And sometimes people stay in those jobs and retire from a job like that. But there's a lot of different scenarios where this can apply, where we may be holding on to things or settling for things that aren't necessarily right for us, but because they're right in front of us and because we're comfortable and because we're complacent and because we don't want to let it go, we could very well be stopping ourselves from receiving the very thing that we actually seek because we're afraid to take a chance on ourselves. And I think that's the biggest thing when we talk about having faith and having these things in our life is about taking a chance on ourselves. And I'll be the first one to tell you that taking a chance on yourself can be scary, right? Especially if you are doing something uncomfortable, especially if you are doing something new, especially if you don't know how things are going to work out. Taking a chance on yourself can be scary. However, if you never take a chance on yourself, you're really never going to know what's out there. Think of it like this. Imagine you spent your entire life indoors. And yes, you had water, and yes, you had food, and yes, you had shelter. However, every time you looked out the window, you saw people swimming. You saw people riding their bikes. You saw people making snowmen. And you never actually go outside because you're afraid to be sunburned. You're afraid to get too cold. You're afraid that you might slip on your way out the door. If you lived your entire life like that, how much of a life did you really live? Not taking a chance on yourself is just like living your life this way. Always keeping yourself sheltered, always staying indoors, never actually going outside. And you could be missing a lot of life if you don't know what's out there, you never take a risk. And that's something that we do because we believe we're protecting ourselves from heartache. But really, when we don't take a risk and we don't take a chance on ourselves, what we're really doing is we're actually creating more heartache for ourselves later on down the line. It's kind of one of those things where you're on your deathbed and you're looking back at your life. And most people say this, and I see it to be true, is when you're on your deathbed, you're not sitting there thinking about all the things that you did do. A lot of times when you're on that point in your life and you realize that you don't have a whole lot more time, you really start to think about and regret the things you didn't do. And there's some things we just shouldn't do, right? There's some things that aren't right for us and we shouldn't do them. However, we should never be in a situation where we're compromising our own happiness. We're compromising what we actually want. We're compromising what we actually can get because we're afraid to take a chance on ourselves. And when we do that, I like to call that as pretend faith. And I call it pretend faith because a lot of times when we're in situations like that, we have people who believe in a higher power. We have people who may read the Bible, may have quotes, may have whatever it is that helps them believe in something greater than themselves, but also believes in the power of the universe and in the power of things always working out the way that they're supposed to. However, when it comes to actually showing that faith, when it comes to actually trusting those quotes, when it comes to actually trusting those Bible verses, they're unable to do it. And I like to call that pretend faith because faith isn't in the reading of the scriptures, the posting of the quotes. It isn't even in the rituals that you do every day. Faith is in the actual believing of things working out in your favor, no matter how they may look on the surface. And if we don't actually believe that, then we're going to be stopping ourselves from receiving many, many blessings, many, many gifts that the universe may have in store for us because we're so focused and we're so dialed in and we can't let go of the things that are outside of our control that we actually are going to be causing the universe to withhold things from us that we otherwise could be getting. And I don't want that to happen in my life. And I know those of you who are listening don't want that to happen in their life. You don't want to be stopping yourself from things that you otherwise could be receiving because you are afraid to take a risk on yourself. And the biggest thing that helped me with that was just the mindset that every day could always be my last day. I know that may seem morbid or that may seem like a scary thought or a mindset to carry, but really it's the truth. And I don't mean to scare you. However, any day can be our last day. And there's a lot of people who wake up one day and decide that they're doing this and have plans for the future and they don't make it through that day for whatever reason. It was their time. And I don't want to go throughout my life just thinking I always have so much time because in reality, I may not. And if I don't take a risk and I don't take a chance on myself now, then when am I going to do it? And it's that type of attitude that has really allowed me to feel a little bit more comfortable with taking the chance. And sometimes you have to leap before you even know where you're jumping to. Metaphorically speaking, it's much like jumping off of a cliff. I have to sometimes in life jump off of a cliff with the belief that I am going to know how to fly. And the reality is, I may not know how to fly. I won't learn how to fly unless I actually jump. Now, the problem with most of us is we're afraid to actually jump. We're afraid to actually jump off of that cliff. That's understandable, right? Because when you walk off that cliff, you can't even see the bottom. You look over and it seems like you're going to fall forever. But unless you jump, you'll never know if you can fly. And a lot of times, if we're in these situations where we're afraid to let go, we're afraid to let go of our power, we're afraid to let go of our own control, we're afraid to put our faith and our trust in what the universe has in store for us, we're standing on that ledge. And sometimes the universe is going to do things to push you closer to that edge because they really want you to jump. The universe wants you to jump because it wants you to know that it's going to always hold you up. It's always going to give you wings when you need them. But unless you actually do it yourself, it can't make you do it. The universe can't make you do anything. It can only lead you to things. It's much like a man leading a horse to water. The universe can't make you drink and it can't make you jump. That has to be on you. So unless we jump, we'll never learn how to fly. And flying is the blessing. Flying is the gift. When we finally jump and we're free falling, and right when we feel like things may not work out for us, it's always when they start to. And any person who's ever taken a chance on themselves will tell you that just when they thought they were going to give up. You hear a lot of entrepreneurs say this. You hear a lot of celebrities. You hear a lot of people who are in positions of influence say this, that it was right when they thought they took a chance on themselves, and it was right when they thought it wasn't going to work out. It was right when they thought things weren't going to go well for them. It was right when they were just about to walk away is when things started going well for them. And we hear that and we see how talented and how great they are, and we see how far they've come in life, and we think, how could you ever been to a point where you wanted to give up? It's because you have to leap before you can fly. And that's how we stop ourselves from our blessings, is if we never leap, we never know. And you don't want to go through your life thinking about what could have been, what you could have done. Because the reality is we're all on a time clock, every last one of us. And we don't know when that time's going to click out. We don't know when that time's going to be done. We don't know when that stopwatch is going to turn off. So unless we learn how to take a risk on ourselves, then we'll never really know what we're capable of. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, ladies and gentlemen. It's about taking a risk. Take a risk on yourself. Take a chance on yourself. If you're being pushed, if things in your life are starting to push you in a direction and it makes you fearful, really start to think about that. Really start to think about, why are these things happening? And a lot of times things will start to fall apart in your life when you're being pushed to that ledge. And that can be with your job. That can be with your relationship. Sometimes that can even be with your health. If things are starting to fall apart in your life and you can't understand why, really start to look at that. Really start to ask yourself, are the things falling apart for a reason? Are these things that deep down inside of me I knew weren't necessarily right for me, but I was holding on because I was so scared to let go? Was I hurting myself? Was I destroying my happiness? Was I destroying my own peace in the process? Is that why it's falling apart? Is this the universe way? This is God's way of trying to protect me? Always look close at those things because they're happening for a reason. And it very well might be the universe pushing you to that edge and telling you to have the faith to jump. And I promise, once you jump, you'll feel your wings coming. And when they come, don't be afraid to fly. So that's all I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I want to thank every last one of you for taking the time to listen. And until next time, I'm out of here.